Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about everything going on within the market, the stock market, the bear market, the bull market, the correction, Ukraine, everything you want to know we're going to talk about. Let me just say this. I do not, this is not going to be a FUD video. Let me just say that. This is not going to be me spreading FUD and telling you that everybody's going to die. And let me put my tablet on Do Not Disturb because people love to text me when I'm making videos. But anyway, this video is mostly going to cover what my plans are going forward between now and the pretty much the FOMC meeting that will be taking place, I believe, March 15th. And also just overall what I plan to do for the rest of the year. Because like I said, during times like this, because today was a really rough day in the stock market. You know, today was the biggest day, like the biggest drop in the market since 2020 or something like that. I'm not going to even go to the article, but you guys saw the articles. It was everywhere. So today was really bad. The S&P 500 was down like 3% in one day. So it was really, really bad. And people are going to make all these videos and give you guys all this FUD and add on to the fear that's going around just so they could get views. But over here, we tell the truth. So I'm going to tell you guys the truth on what I think is a good strategy to do. I mean, obviously, I don't give financial advice. We'll never see a paid Discord from me trying to tell you that I'm the one guy who can help you make money in a bear market. No. This is what I will say, though. So the market is crap, and I think this is a good time to maybe pivot your portfolios to better companies if you're in a bunch of growth companies. Now, my portfolio is already very well diversified. Most of my money is in Apple, Microsoft, VTI, AMD, Nvidia, things like that. That's where most of my money is. I did buy a material stock that has been doing extremely well during these times, unfortunately. I mean, I wanted to do well, but not do well because of the war in Ukraine, but that's what's happening. So you've got that going on. What I want to say is, here's my plan going forward for a lot of the riskier stocks that I hold, except for stocks like DraftKings. I'm never selling DraftKings. I'm never putting a stop loss. But for some of the other riskier stocks, like maybe like a SoFi or a Snapchat or a Pinterest, whatever stocks some of you guys might be in that are like in the growth stock sector that, doesn't really have any profit or is unprofitable, you can take Pinterest out because I actually believe Pinterest is profitable. But you guys get what I'm saying. Most of these companies that are considered high risk, in my honest opinion, I wouldn't sell everything that you have because I'm not selling everything that I have. But some of these more risky stocks, I wouldn't necessarily sell them, but I would put a stop loss on. And that's what I plan to do. Some of these stocks I do plan to put a stop loss on just in case things get worse. I know we're having a lot of talks about a recession and things are going to get much worse. And I'm really not in the business of trying to predict the future because I have no idea what's going to happen. Do I think we might be closer to a recession now than we were maybe a month or so ago? Sure, probably. But like I said, you can't predict this stuff, so why even waste your time trying to? I don't. But one thing I will do is protect my money. And so the fact that the NASDAQ entered bear market territory today is not a good sign. And it just makes me say, okay, well, at the end of the day, I'm in the business of not only making money, but protecting my money. So I'm going to protect my money. And obviously, I don't care what price, Costco, Microsoft, DraftKings, Apple, Google, whatever stocks that are in your high conviction list, if you really, really believe in these companies and you've done thorough research and you strongly believe that these stocks are going to 3x, 10x, 5x, 2x, whatever, then I wouldn't sell those stocks at all because that's the boat that I'm in. DraftKings is one of those stocks for me. I'm never selling it. I don't care if it goes to $5. Never, ever in life selling DraftKings. I will just buy more. It's the same way that I feel about Apple and Microsoft and things like that. Costco, some of my favorite holdings. Netflix, too. I do own some Netflix. I have a extremely high conviction on Netflix, so that's another stock. But I just want to make this video to say you definitely don't want to go down with the ship on every single stock. I mean, I would say, pick the stocks that you have less conviction in and just put a stop loss on it because things really can get uglier. Now, I don't think things are going to stay uglier for long. As a matter of fact, I actually think that this is going to be a good year for stocks. I still believe that. I think first half is probably going to be bad, which we're already seeing. But honestly, you typically kind of do get a correction in stocks in the first quarter of the year. In the first quarter of the year, is typically when you get a correction anyway. So shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I definitely think the second half of this year, things should be much better. And, that's just my opinion. That's what I think. So For me, I am definitely going to be looking to dollar cost average more into index funds and some of my more high conviction stocks like DraftKings and Microsoft, which I think Microsoft went back to the 280s, which was beautiful because I love that company so much. I am so bullish on that. Same thing with Apple. So my main plan going forward is I will be putting a stop loss on some of my more risky companies. And, you know, it's not going to be like I'm just going to panic sell out of it tomorrow, but I'm just going to put a stop loss at a certain point. And, you know, if those stocks break those key levels, then, hey, I'll get out of it temporarily. And maybe after 30 days, I buy it back to avoid the wash sale rule. And, you know, that's kind of the way that I'm thinking about things for now, because as you know, there is a lot of fear and the NASDAQ did enter bear market territory. So you do have to keep things like that in mind. You know, it is something to pay attention to. You know, still very bullish on the future and things like that. But I just wanted to go ahead and say that so everybody can at least have an idea of what type of strategies you could do going forward. In terms of selling all your stocks and cashing up, I don't care what anybody says. I think that's a terrible decision. I definitely support having some cash because I have some cash. I've got, you know, several $1,000s in cash, something like that. I got a decent amount, and I plan to deploy that cash and put it to work over the next few months and weeks and things like that. But in terms of putting like a large cash position, like 50% of your entire portfolio in cash, I think that's dumb, especially with inflation. I think you're better off just putting that in the stock. Especially if it's a stock that maybe pays dividends or something like that. That's just my opinion. You know, everybody might not agree, but that's just my opinion. So to all these YouTubers that keep saying, oh, I'm cashing up, I'm shorting the market, I'm doing this, I would be very careful with those people because you don't want to deal with other people who swing and flip-flop any kind of way depending on what the market is doing in the short term. You want to trust somebody who has a long-term vision and knows their plan of what they're going to do for the long term. And my long-term plan and vision is no matter what the market's doing, no matter where we're high, low, whatever, I am always going to be a buyer of stocks. But I also do want to protect my capital because in the stock market, there is nothing that can stop some of these small and mid-cap stocks from going, you know, to the gutter, honestly. I mean, if you guys remember 2020, I remember 2020. I was investing in the market in 2020 and stocks went so low. It was honestly scary. I thought everything was going to go to zero. And that was my first crash because I was a child during 2008. You know, I was a kid during the 2008 crash. So I've never seen a stock market crash before. 2020 was my first stock market crash and it scared the absolute heck out of me. It was very scary. Everything went to the gutter. Everything just kept going down every single day. It was horrible. And I'm not saying that we'll get a crash right now, but one thing that I wish I would have done back then is put a stop loss on some of the more riskier stocks. Now, Apple, Google, Microsoft, whatever, there will never be a stop loss for things like that because those are stocks that I just strongly believe in. If they go to zero, I will just buy more. Like, that's how much I believe in them. But some of the other more riskier stocks, like what I had in 2020, I really wish that I had put a stop loss on because it would have saved me from losing a lot more money. You know, you think that something's the bottom and it just keeps going. It keeps going for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the next thing you know, you go from being down 30, 40% to being down 80%, 90%. Like, it's just insane, but it can happen. So I just want to say with these small and mid caps, there's nothing that can stop them from going lower. They can just keep going lower, especially as we continue to get more fear and this fear mongering that's going on in the news. So that's just something that I want to tell you guys. I think that's it. I think I'm done blabbering my mouth. So there you have it. That'll go ahead and conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.